Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Centrick Talks Property. We're here today, myself and Stuart McDermott, just to talk through purchaser tips really. So if you're out there looking for a property, what our advice is, where you should start, the kind of things you should look out for and ask along the way. We've moved room, a bit of variety. We're in our kitchen in the Exchange building in Birmingham. So hopefully, you find it useful and let's begin. So Stu, welcome back. Thank you again.
Thank you, no problem.
So buying a property,
Yeah.
obviously probably the biggest purchase most people will make in their lifetime, biggest asset you'll probably own.
Yeah.
So it's a big move.
It's
a big decision.
I think so.
So where do you think people should start? Like you're at home, you know, let's say you're a first time buyer, first time you've ever started to look for property.
Yeah.
You and the partner sit down and say, right, this year we're going to move home, or we're going to move out of the parents, out of the box room. What would your advice be for those first week, 2 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's about trying to understand what it is you're looking for, really.
Yeah.
I think, quite often when you are speaking to buyers, they really don't have an idea of exactly what they want. And I think that changes, it evolves over the course of the search, really. And I think when we initially speak to an agent and give you an idea or a search criteria, actually, if you then reviewed it when you do make a purchase, it's
never the same, is it?
And I think it does change, obviously, as you start viewing properties, you get an understanding of what's out there.
Yeah.
But I think just sitting down initially and actually having a very frank conversation with each other and saying, right, let's make a pro and con list, perhaps. Yeah. This is what we want. This is what we need. And obviously making it very clear, because what you want and what you need are two different things quite often.
Yeah. I think what I've found through my career is when people come in for the first time, they've got this long list of, we want 3 bedrooms, we want it to be semi-detached, we want this location, we want this price point, we want 2 reception rooms, the list goes on. Yeah. And then actually, like you said, when they do purchase, it's probably ticking a few of those, 3 or 4. So what we've always discussed is, what are the non-negotiables?
Absolutely.
So I think if people are transparent with their agent with those, look, these are all the wants, but actually these 4 or 5 are non-negotiables. Like, it needs to have a drive, it needs to be in this postcode for schooling or work or transport, communication, commuting, transport, commute, etc. So I think my advice would be open and honest with your agent. Yeah. A lot of people, I think, walk in or phone the agent and almost try and hold back all their ACE cards.
Yeah,
but
I think
you can help someone.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really valid question. More, I mean, in terms of the way that I was just thinking about the question, actually, and for me, obviously, as an agent, we're a person. We're on the other end of the phone trying to understand what they're looking for. Yeah. I think one of the things that for me, when I'm searching for a buyer of a property, I'm trying to remember who I've spoken to, going through my criteria list, and I'm actually trying to make an assessment whether or not that property meets their criteria. If I don't know the criteria, or the person on the other end of the phone has been particularly closed off in regards to the information, then I'm not really in a confident position. I'm going to phone that person and go, I've got the one for you, because I don't really know that person. So for me, it'd be about, I suppose, changing the sort of the outlook of most buyers, which is actually give us as much information as possible, because that for me really helps me find a property for somebody. Also, one of the things that we look at, and I think it's a bit of a technique or something that we learn as agents, but we're actually trying to find the soft facts behind the actual criteria. So, you need 3 bedrooms. Well, why is it you need 3 bedrooms? Is it that you work from home, especially in the current climate? Do you have children? Do you have pets?
Planning more?
Are you planning more children? Yeah, exactly. I'm not personally. But that can often be the contributor to the reasons behind needing 3 bedrooms or 2 reception rooms, etc. So I think, from my point of view as an agent, I really like to know exactly why they're looking for that particular
the amount of times someone said, I need a 3 bedroom, and then you speak to them like, oh, we found a property. Okay, where did you buy? What did you buy? It's a 2 bedroom terrace. Oh, okay, I had you down looking for a 3 bedroom detached, and they've ended up in a bungalow somewhere.
I think as well, like, we all watch these programs, that are on telly about how to find the perfect home, and I'm not going to name them, but I think for me, it's people have a grand idea of what they're looking for, but in reality, when it gets down to the crunch, perhaps they haven't got the budget for it,
and also you're limited to actually what is on the market.
Yeah, of course.
So within that time period you're looking for, you can't just magic up properties that tick all those 10 boxes. Exactly. As you say, you might have to make a decision that, you know, the best of a bunch that you've seen that tick the most.
Yeah.
Okay. So be transparent, I think, is one we're saying that's really useful for us as agents to be able to find you your best home. Yeah. And I think the model has changed a little bit. You know, agents used to be thought of representing the sellers, which ultimately we still do, but it's very much a property sourcing exercise now. You know, you're trying to find that perfect property out of the stuff you have on the market or might not yet have on the market for the buyers that are registered with you. So transparency and being open and honest with your agent is important.
Yeah, agreed.
Something we talk about a lot is actually beating the portals.
Yeah.
So some advice to people is actually do get in touch with the local agents, because you'll hear about properties before they hit the portals if you do that, and if you keep in touch with them. Yeah,
I mean, one of the things that we do as an agent, not we as a business, but as an agent, when you're going out to value a property, you're already thinking, well, who have I got potentially that'd be interested in buying this property? Because, you know, obviously we as an agency and as an industry get paid on completion. We don't, you know, receive a fund up front from the client. So we're already trying to think, well, who have I got on my database that I know would be interested in buying this property? And as you can imagine, we've got hundreds of thousands of applicants looking over the course of the years that we've been trading. Who stands out? Those that give you the information that you know more about, that you've built a relationship with. Absolutely. You've got trust, you've got you know, reassurance of what they're looking for, and then you can make that match really, and that's how we typically would work.
Yeah, and again, I think when it goes to the portal, you've got the same opportunity as thousands of people that are registered with agents, portals, etc. Yeah. Whereas actually, if you can get something before it's gone to the portal, you've got a better chance of securing that, not being in a bidding war. Yeah. So a hot tip, I think, and I always tell people is, look, be open and honest with me now, because actually when I go out to something and I see it, if I can call you before, you know, 50,000 people in that postcode see it because it goes on Rightmove, Zoopla and all the other portals, you're in a much better position to secure that deal and secure the property when you're not competing with a lot of other people. So I mean, it's a top tip for me.
It is a top tip, definitely. The other thing and to bear in mind and factor is that, as I said in previous podcasts, that we do have a regulation that we abide by. If we hold a day of viewings at the property, everybody that's viewed that property has the right to offer, irrespective of whether the deal's been agreed. You know, so it's really important that if you are, as you say, transparent and open to the agent, they've, you know, matched you to the property before it goes to portal. You viewed it before it gone officially on market. It gives you that higher percentage rate of actually not having that bidding war that you've mentioned there, without a doubt.
Definitely. So register with your local agents, build a rapport, be transparent, hopefully.
Yeah, I think
be honest
so.
with what you want to achieve, and you'll be surprised what you'll get back from the local agent.
Yeah, I agree.
And hopefully, again, beat the portals is a really
definitely.
key thing. Let's take it the step further then. So we've sat down as a couple, we've talked about what our wants and needs are and must-haves. We've spoken to the local agent. We've then been set up with a property that's not yet gone on the portals, hopefully. And we've got a viewing. So what kind of prep would you advise people to make before viewing? And what things to look out for, I suppose, is a good one that people will be asking.
Yeah, I think if we look back to yesteryear in agency world, when, you know, the portals and online marketing wasn't as strong, you know, typically people have driven past the area to know what's around it, maybe had a look from the exterior of the building to see whether they like it, make an assessment from there. Obviously, the internet gives you access to everything now. So you've got things like council tax banding, you know, understanding the internet speeds, which is really crucial now, especially with broadband, working from home.
Working from home a lot, definitely.
Of course. You know, just general understanding, like, you know, what bus takes you where if you get public transport, how close the nearest train station is in terms of walking or car journey, and just trying to understand, you know, before you go out to that property, what is that property in what local area, you know, shops.
And I think again with the portals and with the agent combined, all of that information literally is at your fingertips.
Absolutely.
Usually. So do a bit of research before, make sure it ticks your boxes for location, transport, shops, etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. Especially as first time buyers.
So you've opened the front door, we're having a walk around. What kind of things would your advice be to look out for, or even just to ask the question as a purchaser?
Yeah, I suppose it all depends on experience. I mean, if you're a younger first time buyer, you may be taking parents with you and relying on their experience in the market. You know, for me, personally, when I'm looking around a property, obviously I have got experience in doing so. I'm looking for telltale things, for certain areas. I'm not going to go too much into detail. I don't want to scare people and talk about damp or structural issues. I'm not a professional in that sense, but I do have a keen eye on it. I think from a first-time buyer point of view, you want to be looking at decorations, the conditions of the decorations. Does it fit your criteria, your skill sets? If you're good at DIY, then you'll know that you can tackle
more
these
than
things.
others.
Exactly. I think you want to know about the windows. So if they're double glazed, UPVC, you would need to ensure that the fence certificate's in place.
So if they've been changed, or if they've been fitted since 2012.
I think it's 2012.
And within 10 years, they should have a valid fencer certificate.
Correct.
Which is a warranty and ultimately a certificate to say they've been fitted to correct standards.
Absolutely.
So fencer certificate is key.
Yeah.
Moving on to electrics and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, electrics is a really key thing for me. I think you can buy a property that's built in 1954 that it's not old really in terms of property, but the electrics haven't been changed. Is that a problem? Do you need to worry about it? To be honest with you, if the electrics work and there's no red flags on them and they're safe, then it's not something you need to go, oh my God, I need to change the electrics today. You might want to investigate it and just see, make sure that you're happy with them. But that's done at a later stage, really. But
so good questions to ask are things like, has it been rewired?
Has it been rewired? What's the latest update?
And people can have electrical inspections. So again, they're valid, I think, for 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
So has a electrical EICR, I think is the phrase for that. Has an EICR certificate been produced in the last 5 years? Is a really good question to ask.
Is the boiler regularly serviced as well, going on to heating? That's a really good question. Especially nowadays, you have these package and plans through various services that offer boiler care and cover. Exactly. But again, these things would need to be asked, because through the transaction of a purchase, these requests of certificates will be asked by your solicitor. So knowing it now is great, because it can kind of eliminate that timing, really.
And I suppose if it hasn't been tested in 20, 30 years, and you can see, again, most people aren't specialists, but you can see, the fuse board might not look very current or modern from an electrics point of view, then I think, again, you can start to budget that possibly you're going to have to rewire that. And again, if it's not unsafe, it's not necessarily saying you need to do that now, but in your future budget, it might be something that you need to just plug into your financial planning.
Absolutely. The other things for me, like walking around, you want to be, I think, observing not just a decorative order of the property, because obviously if the property is wallpapered, it's hard to see, the conditions of the walls, but certainly just looking in certain spots, like especially low points in the rooms, on the ground floor in particular, if there's any sort of discolouring of the paint or
any patchy paintwork,
or maybe the wallpaper's coming away from the wall at the bottom, that would typically be an indication there might something be going on there. Not necessarily, again, it's a damp problem, but it could mean that there's something happening, and it's worth to consider.
Telltale signs. And I think the advice on those things is, look, trust the specialists. Again, people don't generally budget for having these inspections done during the purchase, but it's a really good way of just eliminating things or putting yourself in a picture. So, if you budgeted £150 for an electrical certificate to be produced, or an inspection to put you in the picture, a timber and damp report you can probably get for 40-50 quid these days. Some people will do them for free as well.
Some do, depending on the company that you speak to.
Again, a boiler inspection, a service, something like that. Again, £60, £100. So almost build that into your purchase costs, because it could protect you in the long run. You purchase something, it needs to rewire a new heating system, and a room needs timber and damp work. That's clocking up several £1,000s of costs that you never anticipated. So
absolutely.
Really good tip.
I think every home that you buy, unless it's a new build, are going to come with certain things you might want to do over the course of the period. Is not rush. We're a generation now, we want everything now. Everything's on credit, or you buy the latest sofa because you like it. You don't need to rush into these things. It's not like the building's going to unless it is in poor order, but I think just plan your budget. If you want a new kitchen, it's going to cost a certain amount of money. It doesn't mean you need to do it today unless it really requires it, but just go around with those open eyes and make those judgments, because the person selling the property will have had that conversation with the agent as well. They would have said, well, look, it's not quite up to date, or there might be some issues here. Let's look at this. If we get an offer around this level, maybe we look at considering that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And certainly when you make an offer, it's what we call the fight story, isn't it? It's about the reason why my offer is this, and I'm backing it up because I need to do X, Y, and Z to the property.
Because the specialists have told me. It's not an assumption. The specialists have told me from my reports. Okay.
Yeah,
I think another good one is actually the vendor, the owner, their position. I see a lot of people caught out where maybe it's a separation and it's not the cleanest of breakups. You could be caught quite a long transaction there. It could be going through probate if it's an inheritance, or a person has passed away and left the property. Again, probate can take 6 months, it could take 18 months to get. So again, if it's in that situation, again, quiz the agent. If you meet the owners, quiz the owners on what position that's in, and can the transaction go through in the desired time frame that you're working towards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we from a point of view of a purchaser, you need to be asking what's the reason why the sale's perhaps on the market? What's the motivation behind the person selling? Is it they need to sell quickly? If it's a case they need to sell quickly, does it meet your timeline? Because you might put an offer in, they want to move next week, and you can't meet that demand. When you're buying a property as well, like for example, a corporate sale for perhaps a repossession or something along those lines, there are conditions of that sale, so you will need to meet those conditions.
You'll need to perform in terms of a time frame.
28-day exchange, possible remain on market with multiple bids coming in, so you need to be aware of that.
You need to be aware you could be beat to the punch almost.
Exactly. So there's lots of things.
So a really good point there. What can people do to get themselves in a position so that their offer, if there is multiple offers, or it's a really popular property, or there's a time frame involved, what can they do to make sure that their offer is, I suppose, viewed upon favourably to put themselves in the best position?
This for me is probably the best advice I can give anybody, and I think it's something that agents do talk about quite a lot, but I don't think buyers really understand why. And it is about being ready for purchase.
Purchase ready.
You don't go into a car showroom. You wouldn't go into Ferrari and say, "I want to drive that £200,000 car." And they wouldn't quite, and they'd hand you the keys and go, "Yeah, no problem. You take it out, mate. No problem." They'd want to know a little bit about you, credentials, perhaps even understanding your background, and understanding what you do financially. So, same buying a property. You can't, go to a property and understand what you need to do and what you need to offer if you don't know actually how much you can afford physically. So go and speak to your broker or a financial advisor, or even bank or building society.
And again, the agents generally have multiple people they can put you in touch with in this point.
We're not talking about us, but we do have our own team that we work with. They actually work independently, so not actually employed by Centrick, so they give impartial advice. That is actually bespoke to the person rather than to the mortgage company.
And I think it comes back to, again, like we said earlier, kind of use your agent by being transparent with them. Use your agent for the connections. At the end of the day, they're a professional that does this every single day. And they have connections with surveyors, mortgage brokers, solicitors, etc., which I'm sure you're about to come on to.
Absolutely.
But use the agent, I think, is a really key message for me.
I think, again, we often look at, saving money all the time. There's comparison websites, there's people that constantly are looking at how to beat their insurance quote, how to beat their electricity bill. And I think it's the same with mortgages. Don't be so cut off that I'm just going to use my bank because I bank with them, they know me. But reality is they're just going to sell their product.
You can only get what they're offering.
Exactly. Our brokers have access to the whole pool of mortgage network. I think Mortgage Brain has about 7,000 deals on there. I wouldn't know where to go. When I buy a property, I ask the professional.
Again, speak to the specialist.
Yeah, exactly. And same with solicitors. People will go online. I'm going to go and get the cheapest deal. If you go for the cheapest deal, are you going to get the best service? Good question. Possibly.
Coming back to trying to get yourself into a position for a time frame or to perform for that deal. Again, choice of solicitor, choice of broker, very important.
I think if I was to speak to a vendor with an offer and say, look, I've got 2 offers on the table. Option A is a buyer that I've had a really good dealing with, really good communication with. I've built really good rapport with. I know them in terms of the fact they've been to see the broker that we've recommended. They've got everything in place. They're ready to commit. Their offer is X. And I've got option B that have offered. I know nothing about them. They've just come out of the blue. I have no guarantees.
They've been reluctant to work with me or talk to me about
I've got no guarantees that they're in a position to buy today. What I can do is my due diligence, which is to ensure they're in a position to purchase. For me, I'm your agent. I'm the person selling the home, but but equally I'm representing the buyer as well, trying to get them a deal. And I think it's having that sort of open and transparent conversation. And as I say, the fight story we put to our vendors is, this is the state of play. What do you want to do? We present it to them and we give them the best option. Who's likely going to get through to completion?
So get yourself some good solid mortgage advice. Get yourself, which we've talked about in a previous episode, sort of, with a decision in principle or a mortgage agreement or an AIP agreement in principle, so that you can demonstrate that the affordability is there. Speak to the solicitors, get yourself a solicitor in play, make sure that you're lined up ready to go, and ultimately have the deposit ready as well. So you can say to the agent, and when you're placing the offer, that look, my offer's X, I have mortgage lined up, I have solicitors lined up, and I have X in the bank ready to go. So my offer is full 360 ready and we are proceedable.
I agree. The other thing I think it's a really valid point to make to anybody that's looking at buying a property, we talk about it quite a lot in our business, is anti-money laundering regulations. Before we can put a deal together, we have to follow that process. It's a tough one. Nobody likes talking about it, but we do need to see certain documentation. So
you are going to be asked to provide.
So things you're going to be asked to provide, and it is absolutely 100% need. We need your ID, so we need to know who you are. That will be verified. Secondly, we need proof of address, so where you live, utility bill, etc. Then proof of deposit. So that proof of deposit isn't a screenshot of your mobile with your savings account.
Banking,
No, it's actually a transactional 6-month timeline really of your bank account to show us that the money's been in there for that period of time.
So ultimately, don't be alarmed if your agent's asking you for all this information.
You might think, why the hell are they asking me that? Well, the reason for it is because we have to do it.
It's legislation.
It's law.
Absolutely. So we will ask that, and more than your conveyancers will also ask that.
So just have your documents ready.
Ready, prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. All right, well, I think that covers off quite a bit. Hopefully a lot of advice for purchasers. So guys, if you've got any more, do get in touch. We'll happily sort of help you out, point you in the right directions, whether it be to specialists, mortgage brokers, electricians, etc. But be open, transparent with your agent, and you'll be surprised what can come of that. So hope you enjoyed watching. Please do give it a thumbs up and a like and a post, and keep the comments coming. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.